The idea for the Chartist album came from a photograph in the Church Times. And there was this photograph of the book that had been found. And I was intrigued because I knew just a little about the Chartists. And I knew nothing about the fact that there was a hymn book. And I thought it'd be fascinating to see what the lyrics were. They're poems, they're passionate, they have a spirituality and a theology which is very interesting, curiously relevant, I think, to our own situation. And I thought it would be nice to put some tunes to them. As I was looking at these lyrics, I was conscious that quite close to where I worked, there was the Occupy demonstration going on outside St. Paul's. And as I wandered around that demonstration, I began thinking about movements for change. Some of the things that were being said were actually very biblical. They were sort of principles about justice and so on. And so I was thinking that though they're different struggles and everything, there was something about it that made me think that there was a relevance to this old hymn book. There were certain echoes, I thought, in what the Chartists were saying. Here were the rich and the powerful that weren't letting the ordinary working people have their freedom. And they speak about it with tremendous passion.
Resolve that wheel.
So when you see the imbalance, society tearing apart because the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer, in our own community and around the world, and here are songs in 1840, 1845, talking of exactly the same things, very bluntly, from a spirituality as well, quite inspiring. There is a growing interest in hymns and songs of worship in bringing in the aspect of justice. I thought this hymn book of 1840, 1845 reflects something which we can learn from today. We can see how they were doing it. It's very effective. We can learn how we can reflect things in our current situation, from the passion, from the honesty, the integrity, the powerfulness of it all, and the way they interweave the spiritual, the biblical principles into this campaign that you can see these songs were used in rallies. I gather Charles Dickens went to one rally and heard one called Assembled 'Neath Thy Broad Blue Sky, which is one of the ones that is on the album. They were sung outdoors and they really lift the spirits. But a lot of my songs have been telling stories of other places. And to now have an album, every song refers to Britain or England, and it's very patriotic, and it's saying that true patriotism is a commitment to justice. It's caring for the oppressed in society. It's rejecting the luxury of the wealthy, the idle wealth it's talking about. And I found it's made me think about our own community. I see its relevance in our own society. I think that it speaks very much to some of the political situations we're grappling with, where poorer people within society are being forgotten and others are getting extraordinarily wealthy. The Chartists seem to me to be speaking exactly to that. The Chartists were singing the hymns to hymn tunes that were around at the time, very populist hymn tunes probably. But I thought I'd like to try writing my own tunes to them, which I particularly enjoyed and found very satisfying. But then as I was going along, I thought it would be good for the album to bring in one or two of those old hymn tunes. So I chose two. I chose Rock of Ages and Amazing Grace, which is an old American folk tune. Musically with the album, I felt we should not try to slavishly reflect the music of 1845, but I did think we should be sensitive to what musical instruments we would use. We had various musicians. The fiddle and accordion player that I use in concert sometimes, Chris Rogers on the fiddle and Paul McDowell on the accordion. We had them, I wanted them there from the start. Pete Banks, who was with a band called After the Fire, I was at his house and he was showing me that he had a mobile harmonium. And I thought that's exactly what we need. So we had a great team of people. We did it within 5 days. We moved very fast. So we wanted it to be fresh and spontaneous, and I really think we caught that. It took me quite a while to get the album together, because at first when I approached one or two record companies and so on, they couldn't see they were a bit hesitant when I said, I've got this great idea to sing the Chartist Hymnbook. But then I approached the company Kevin Mayhew, and they thought about it for a while and then said, all right, let's go with it. If someone had said to me, in 40 years down the road, you'll have done over 40 albums and the one you'll be recording is a hymn book from 1845, I would have been bewildered. What are you talking about? And yet, curiously, at this stage, I feel it's a really interesting and creative thing to do. I think it's something that's odd, actually, but that really I've learned a lot from it. I'm understanding more about the history of the Chartists. I'm seeing the relevance of that political movement into our own community and our own society. And I'm finding it very creative. I've really enjoyed it. I'm very pleased at how it's turned out.
You'll be free. You are resolved that you'll be free. You are resolved that you'll be free.